Ready for some Beatles? I've Just Seen a Face. This is one of my favorite Beatles songs, and it's a song that oftentimes you will hear bluegrass bands cover because it's got a, excuse me, it's got a very country kind of feel to it. This is off of Rubber Soul. It's the first cut. If you own the LP, it's first cut side A. Great song, and you will oftentimes not only hear bluegrass bands do it, but you'll hear country bands do it as well, and it makes a great song. It's certainly a great beginning song because the melody is very distinct and it's not that varied. It doesn't go all over the place. So what I've done in this arrangement is I've just plugged in one roll pretty much that's programmed all the way through the song from start to finish, and that's the alternating thumb roll, this guy. Now the way we learned the alternating thumb roll, we did this, 8 note. Right? In this song, we're pretty much just doing the first 4 notes of this roll. Okay, you caught that? Okay, so let's check out the tablature and see what's going on here. So what I just played, those 4 notes, look at my right hand, that's how we begin the first measure. We're going to play that roll. Then we got 2 notes. They're not part of any roll, it's just... So that first measure is going to sound like this. We'll do that again. Then we got the second measure, okay? So the second measure sounds like this. Did you catch that with my right hand? I'm just doing that roll twice. The difference is when I start that roll, you'll notice that I'm fretting the second fret of the 3rd string. So this is what that measure sounds like in its entirety. You'll see me fretting. One more time. So if you know the lyrics of the song, this is where we are in the song. I've just seen a face I can't, right? Then it goes, forget the time or place where we just met. So I'm going to go over the first 2 measures that we've just covered. This is what we got so far. Right? Now, the next measure, the 3rd measure, our middle finger, which was just fretting that 2nd fret of the 3rd string, he's now up here. He's going to be up here on the 4th fret of the 3rd string. You don't have to slide him, by the way. We're not doing a slide. We're just now replacing him. We're refretting him down there on the 4th fret of the 3rd string, okay? So this is going to sound like, again, we're just doing that alternating thumb roll. That's pretty much the roll that's programmed through this song from start to finish. Okay, 3rd measure. Right, I'll do that one more time. What comes after that? Here's the 5th measure. I'm sorry, here's the 4th measure. Right? I'll do that again. So you'll see when you see me play this measure, I'm doing 4 notes, which are that alternating thumb roll, and then I got 2 standalone notes. Right? So I'm going. And then the next measure, which is measure 5, I'm going into an E minor, right? There's our E minor chord. Okay? You could really just fret this chord like, well, just fretting the 2nd fret 1st string, because when you fret the full chord, you've also got the 4th string fretted. But we're not plucking that 4th string with our right hand, so you're not going to hear that note. So it's okay just to fret just to fret this first string, second fret. I will say this though, it's great practice to play the full chords as much as you can, even if you're not actually plucking all the notes of that chord, because all it does is it's going to make you more comfortable with those transitions going from open chords to fretted positions, and it's just great to implement whenever you can. Okay, so measure 5, we're on that E minor chord. I'm going to play the full E minor chord, okay? So I'm doing 2 fingers. Middle finger's on the 2nd fret 4th string. My ring finger is on the 2nd fret 1st string, okay? So we're going to go. And then we repeat that. Did you catch that? Okay. So this is what we have so far. We'll backtrack to the first measure. We got this. Now, next measure, look what we're going to do. We're going to play this note. But we're still maintaining this E minor position. If you're fretting the full chord, all you'll need to do is just drop your middle finger from that 4th string 2nd fret to the 3rd string 2nd fret. Okay? And then you would play that alternating thumb roll. Right? And then the next 4 notes, same exact roll, but you just remove that middle finger from that 3rd string 2nd fret. We'll do that again. I'm going to play measure 5 plus measure 6 together because they kind of go together contextually. So we're going to go, here's measure 5, measure 6, right. You saw in measure 6 I had this guy, I had dropped that middle finger to the 3rd string, took him off. Now we're on the 7th fret, 7th measure. We lose this position. Technically, we're still in an E minor chord. In other words, the accompaniment to this song is still playing E minor, but you don't have to worry about that. You might want to worry about it if someone else wants to accompany you on this song, because they're going to want to know what the chords are if they're not already familiar with it. But for this next measure, even though it's played over an E minor chord, we can lose that E minor position because we're going to be playing notes that are contained within that chord, so it will fit. So measure 7. Oops, take 2. Right? You can see at this point that I've really maintained that roll pretty much all the way through. So not too much explaining necessarily with the right hand, if you just know that picking pattern. It's basically that picking pattern with a few individual notes that are not part of rolls thrown in there as well to kind of add a little variety. Okay, so measure 7. Right? Now measure 8. Still doing that roll. Surprise, surprise. Notice measure 8, we ended the measure with 2 individual notes that are not part of any roll. They're just 2 quarter notes. In case you're wondering, you don't need to worry about this, but the rolls are basically 8th notes, which basically means that the notes of the roll or the rolls are coming faster than standalone notes, like those last 2 notes in measure 8. Right? I'll do that again. Measure 8. Okay, so let's backtrack to measure 1, see what we got so far. Now you're just going to play a C chord Okay, there's your C chord, right? If you looked at the unit on chords, basic chords, you'll know how to play the C chord. Ring finger on the 2nd fret 1st string, index finger on the 1st fret 2nd string, middle finger on the 2nd fret 4th string. Right? So for measure 9, where we throw in that C chord, we're basically just playing that roll over this C chord, which we hold for the entire measure. That's measure 9, okay? Now measure 10, we lose that C chord. See what we did? We went, that's with our middle finger. That's the 5th fret, 3rd string, and then that's the 4th fret, 3rd string. That's measure 10. You might have noticed that whenever I throw in a little bit of fretting in this song, it's all the middle finger. It's all the middle finger. I'm talking about fretting that's not part of a chord, just little notes up and down the neck. It's my middle finger. So that was measure 10. Right? And then we got measure 11. Look, he jumps down here now. This guy does a lot of work in this song. Now he's going to be doing the 2nd fret 3rd string. We're going to play that alternating thumb roll. Then we got 2 standalone notes. Remember I said the middle finger does all the work in the song as far as fretting individual notes? Well, here, it's going to make more sense to actually use your ring finger, because you can just go. If you use your middle finger for that note, your hand has to kind of move a little bit to the right up the fretboard, and that makes for a little bit of a kind of a jerky motion. I'm not dead set against that, but I would prefer you use your ring finger. Right? So measure 11, recapping it. Right? And then measure 12. Okay? That is it. You can always repeat this if you want to. I have not included the repeat signs, but you can always repeat it. Typically, when you hear people solo on this song, they'll just play it once through the way it's represented on the tablature. But it doesn't mean you have to do that. You can cycle this. Actually, it makes a great exercise if you were to do that. So let's take this song from the top at a nice moderate tempo and see what it sounds like. Okay, here we go.